Last month, just as the European Union was considering whether to impose heavy taxes on Chinese electric vehicles, Turkey suddenly took tough measures against the Chinese auto industry. They announced a high tariff of 40% on all cars imported from China, and no vehicle would be allowed to have a tariff of less than $7,000. This means that even if the actual tariff should be lower than this figure, importers still have to pay a minimum tax of $7,000. For those Chinese automakers who rely on the Turkish market, this is undoubtedly a fatal blow. But unexpectedly, the policy was officially revoked in less than a month, and Turkey even reached a $1 billion cooperation agreement with China's BYD company. According to this agreement, BYD will invest in the construction of a large automobile production base in Turkey, with an estimated annual production of 150,000 vehicles. Some industry observers pointed out that Chinese auto companies have successfully circumvented the EU's tariff sanctions in this way. So why did Turkey suddenly change its attitude towards sanctions against China? How will China's establishment of an automobile production plant in Turkey crush the EU's sanctions? If you like our video content, please click to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can receive all our latest video content. Now, let's get into today's topic. As early as the beginning of the 20th century, the United States and Germany were at the forefront of global automobile manufacturing and laid the foundation for the entire industry. By the 1970s, Japan's auto industry had risen rapidly with its excellent fuel efficiency and reliability, almost monopolizing the market for the next half-century. Meanwhile, China's auto industry did not really start to develop until the 1980s, when it was mainly through the introduction of foreign technology and production in cooperation with other countries. Let's look at the data. In 1985, Japan's automobile production reached an astonishing 11.04 million vehicles, with overseas production of about 1 million vehicles and exports of 6.85 million vehicles, firmly sitting on the throne of the world's first. During the same period, China's automobile production was only 440,000 vehicles, imports were 100,000 vehicles, and exports were even less than 1% of the total production. At that time, the quality and technical level of Chinese cars did not keep up with international standards, and sometimes they were even nicknamed industrial garbage in foreign markets. But no one expected that China would then shock the West by developing electric vehicles. Since the beginning of the 21st century, the problem of global warming has gradually intensified, and reducing carbon emissions has become an urgent task for the international community. Against this background, China seems to have seized a major opportunity for energy transformation. Their government began to strongly support and invest in helping local automakers gradually improve their technical level and promote the development of new energy vehicles. After years of development, China's automobile manufacturing industry has indeed achieved amazing achievements. According to the China Association of Automobile Manufacturers, China's automobile production and sales in 2023 have reached 30 million vehicles, of which the output of new energy vehicles has reached 9.6 million vehicles. What is more worth mentioning is that China's performance in the field of automobile exports is particularly outstanding. The total export volume for the whole year reached 4.91 million vehicles, of which the export volume of new energy vehicles accounted for 1.2 million vehicles, a year-on-year increase of 57.9%. These cars are mainly exported to the European, Southeast Asian, and South American markets, making China the world's largest automobile exporter. In order to further expand its international influence, Chinese automakers have begun to set up production bases around the world. In 2021, China announced the establishment of a 523-acre battery component manufacturing facility in Michigan, USA. In the same year, China's Guotian High-Tech also successfully acquired the German auto parts giant Bosch Group and transformed it into a new energy battery production plant in 2023. By 2024, Well-known Chinese auto companies such as Great Wall Motors, SAIC Group, and BYD have announced that they will establish production bases in Thailand. As the influence of Chinese auto companies grows, they have also begun to regard the European market as their main development goal. Recently, BYD, China's most powerful new energy vehicle manufacturer, announced that it would invest $1 billion to build a large automobile factory and R&D in Turkey, which could even make the EU's high tariffs on Chinese cars scrapped. What is going on? As far as I know, the automobile factory invested and built by China's BYD in Turkey is located in Manisa province in western Turkey. According to the project plan, the factory is scheduled to start construction at the end of 2024 and is expected to be put into production at the end of 2026. However, negotiations for this cooperation were launched as early as May this year, involving several heavyweight players in the Chinese auto industry, including BYD and Chery, as well as well-known brands such as SAIC Group and Great Wall Motors. In order to finalize these agreements as soon as possible, the Turkish government has strong expectations and warm welcome for Chinese electric vehicle companies to invest. After several rounds of in-depth contacts and negotiations, it was not until July this year that BYD and the Ministry of Industry and Technology of Turkey officially signed an agreement to invest and build a factory. It is worth mentioning that Turkish President Erdogan also personally attended the signing ceremony, which shows that the Turkish government attaches great importance to and supports this investment project. Some experts believe that once BYD's auto industry in Turkey is completed, the annual output is expected to reach 150,000 vehicles, which is expected to create more than 5,000 jobs and 2,000 indirect jobs for the country. In fact, this factory will not only greatly enhance BYD's competitiveness in the European and Middle Eastern markets, but will also bring about $2 billion in revenue to Turkey each year. So why did China choose to build an automobile production base in Turkey? In fact, although Turkey has a population of only 85 million, they currently face an unemployment rate of up to 10%. Therefore, Chinese automakers can provide a large number of jobs by building factories in Turkey and drive the development of related industrial chains. In addition to China, many European, Japanese, and Korean auto companies have also chosen to set up factories in Turkey. This is mainly because Turkey's auto market is also very important. Data show that the number of cars imported by Turkey in 2023 exceeded 1.2 million, and 11 Chinese brands including BYD, MG, and Chery have entered the Turkish market. These brands sold about 380,000 vehicles in 2023, accounting for 14% of the Turkish auto market. By the first half of 2024, this market share is expected to rise to 18%. So in the next few years, Turkey's auto market will be very attractive to Chinese electric vehicle companies. It is worth mentioning that China's construction of an auto factory in Turkey is very good news for both parties. But this has also caused dissatisfaction from the European Union. Why is this? In recent years, China's rapid rise in the European new energy vehicle market has attracted close attention from EU countries. According to statistics, China exported about 680,000 new energy vehicles to Europe in 2022, accounting for 9.7% of the European market. By 2023, this number has jumped to 1.2 million, with an annual growth rate of an astonishing 77.6%. This strong growth momentum has caused great concern in the EU, fearing that China may continue to expand its dominance in the European market. In order to curb this trend, France joined other EU countries in June this year to implement a higher tariff policy on several major Chinese new energy vehicle brands. Among them, tariffs of 17.4%, 20%, and 38.1% were imposed on China's Geely Automobile, SAIC Group, and BYD respectively. In addition, other Chinese automakers were also uniformly levied a 21% tariff. As the Chinese auto company with the largest market share in Europe, BYD's original selling price in the domestic market already includes relatively high production costs and reasonable profit margins. But when these cars enter the European market, their costs are further increased by additional expenses such as transportation costs, tariffs, taxes, and marketing activities, which makes their prices in Europe already significantly higher than in the domestic market. Now, with France and other EU countries imposing additional tariffs of up to 38.1% on BYD cars, this has further increased BYD's prices in Europe, affecting its price competitiveness in the local market. For BYD and other Chinese automakers, this tariff increase will be a huge challenge. However, Turkey has signed a customs union agreement with the EU. Under this agreement, any electric vehicles and related parts produced in Turkey can enter the European market without paying tariffs. This provides Chinese automakers, including BYD, with a strategy to bypass high EU tariffs, investing in factories in Turkey. By producing in Turkey, Chinese automakers can not only avoid EU tariffs, but also enjoy tariff benefits for entering a wider market. If Chinese automakers adopt a more proactive strategy in this regard, such as expanding their production bases in Turkey and even other European countries, the negative impact of the high EU tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles will be greatly reduced. This development could lead to an unexpected result. The EU itself could end up being the loser, as it could lose its edge in global automotive competition while trying to protect its local market. In addition to expanding its electric vehicle development in Turkey, BYD established an electric bus production base in Hungary as early as 2017. In addition, the company has taken over a former Ford plant in Brazil and is looking for a new factory site in Mexico. These steps are part of its global strategy to enhance BYD's influence and competitiveness in the international market. Therefore, in the face of high tariffs imposed by the EU on Chinese electric vehicles, BYD can mitigate the financial impact of the tariffs by producing locally in Europe. In my opinion, even if the United States and Europe impose high tariffs, it will be difficult to stop the global development momentum of Chinese auto brands. To not miss out on our future projects and news updates, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. We will continue to provide you with more exciting and interesting content.